I'm down here at Sydney Road, Coburg with Thomas Wright, our Liberal candidate for Pascoe Vale. Today we're making an announcement of $200,000 towards this shopping strip, this vibrant shopping strip that's really had some hard times during lockdown. We want to support small business and we're going to do that with this money. Thomas, what's it going to mean for this area?
Ryan, it's absolutely fabulous. This area has been so hard hit by COVID. It's been so hard hit by all the taxes that the Andrews government has implemented, and they really need a little bit of a boost of hope that comes from investment from government like this. This will help them make the really important shopping strip here look more vibrant and hopefully bring more shoppers in.
We're looking forward to helping small business right here in Coburg in the Pascoe Vale electorate, and Thomas is the guy to do it.
Thanks, Ryan.
Welcome. Look, what I'd like to do today is put to you that Moreland City Council develop an innovation and knowledge platform that addresses our climate emergency and that would respond and would see continual improvement in evidence-based innovation. These innovations aren't going to come from me. I'm not an expert in this area, but I propose a partnership model that the council could adopt for accelerated change. I recently discovered that the RMIT Design School is fully locating to our Brunswick campus. This means it will have researchers, academics and students on our doorstep who are at the global forefront of design of sustainable products, services and systems. The school teaches design as a conduit to address social sustainability, cultural awareness and wellbeing of clients, users and communities. I've approached some academics at the School of Design and they are keen to incorporate our local environment and community issues and environmental issues into their curriculum that would lead to low-cost, community-based, sustainable and social innovation practices. This will also tie into the Enhanced Innovation District model that I believe the Council is proposing in the development of a hub near that campus yet to be announced. As we look to universities to design and to produce accelerated solutions for our pandemic woes, I believe that we need to engage them to accelerate emergency solutions to our climate problems. Let's partner with
tonight. One of the big controversial topics was a solidarity motion with Palestine. Unfortunately, we lost that vote, including some basic solidarity comments with the Palestinians. So that was really disappointing, but we tried, and unfortunately that didn't get up.
And then the other main Councillor Coleman put up a motion around not having gas exploration near the 12 Apostles. And for all of the reasons you would, listeners and viewers would be familiar with, but particularly because of the threats to that iconic environment and just the threats that gas exploration and burning fossil fuels has to our whole globe and the whole nature of the ecosystem of the world. So it's a pretty important one, particularly with COP26 happening in Scotland at the moment and Glasgow. And we're really not on track to get to a safe climate there. And hopefully by the end of the week, they might get to closer to 1.5. But if we were to do more gas exploring, it certainly wouldn't help. And it was interesting that some councils actually still wanted to do it. So have a look at the video or pay attention to the minutes, because it's worth knowing who needs a bit of being brought into the 21st century. And I'm going to throw over to Angelica.
Thanks.
Hi everyone. It's a rather exciting evening tonight because we approved the engagement and consultation process on renaming the city from the current one at Moreland with its racist connections and overtones to a new name, which we'll be getting the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung names in the next few days, we hope, and we'll publicise those and we'll have a special meeting to publicise them, and people will be able to have their input on that and give their feedback to us.
The COVID pandemic has shown how society can rapidly reorganise things in response to a crisis. We will eventually overcome the COVID crisis, but we need to take the lessons from the response to the COVID crisis so that we can mobilise to confront a far larger and more devastating crisis which is breathing down our necks, the climate emergency. The climate crisis will have long-term consequences for us and the generations to come, and may even mean that human life will not survive on this planet. The council needs to take up this struggle, put pressure on take action itself, put pressure on other levels of government and corporations, and support the climate activist movement in mobilising greater forces in support of climate action.
Well, I think the closing of the Liberal and Labor parties in on clear neoliberal policies and pro-war policies does make it a better environment for Nazis and neo-Nazis to recruit, for the far right to recruit, because basically the two major parties, especially the coalition, are doing their best to try and make Australians frightened, make Australians feel as if we need to waste all of this money on war spending. When there's no threat to Australia, there's definitely no credible threat to Australia. So what this does is it disarms Australian working class people, because the Labor Party has a much bigger voice in the media than any ordinary person from the left or otherwise. And so while there are voices from the left and there are some NGOs that are sort of supportive of the left, while they're all arguing quite cogently against the coalition's pro-war policies, they're not getting covered in the media at all. And I think that then does lead to a right-wing trajectory in the Australian population, or is likely to lead to a right-wing trajectory on questions of war. Well, why the Greens might be more progressive than Labor Party and more progressive than the Liberal Party, they are still not an adequate alternative to the major parties, mainly because they're still fixated on market solutions. They're not anti-capitalist. They still think that you can achieve climate action through the market. And what we've seen over the last 30 years that I've been aware of climate change is that the market has failed. If the market was going to be successful in solving the issue of climate change and shifting the economy to 100% renewable energy, this would have happened years and years ago. It would have happened 10 to 20 years ago, but that hasn't happened. So I think the people do need to consider voting for an alternative, voting one for Socialist Alliance, and then voting for the Greens ahead of Labor, because the Greens' pro-market approach is not enough on climate change, on solving the water situation, on recycling, or any number of different environmental issues.